Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. Today I wanted to talk about emotions and what we can learn from a 2-year-old. So I'll get to that in a second. Take a couple of nice deep breaths. Breathe in the peace. Exhale the noise. Breathe in the clarity. Exhale the doubt and the uncertainty. Breathe in the safety. Exhale the perceived danger. So, emotions. I get a lot of questions about how do I feel my emotions? How do I know I'm feeling them correctly? I'm not sure how to feel my emotions and, 20 other variations of that question. I also have a number of people telling me that I'm terrified of my emotions. If I allow myself to get sad, I'll be crying all day. Or if I allow myself to get angry, I can stay angry for weeks. Right? Because it's not just an emotion they're experiencing, it becomes a mood and then a disposition that kind of becomes who they are if you hang on to it long enough. And those are some things that Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about a little bit. So what can we learn from a 2-year-old with regard to feeling our emotions? Well, let's look at a 2-year-old. They can get very upset and sad and cry, and 5 minutes later they're laughing and playing. It's purely an unfiltered feeling, experiencing of their emotions. No judgment, no questioning, no belief that says if I feel this emotion that makes me bad, because they haven't been taught those things yet. If a 2-year-old gets angry, they get angry, right? And then what happens 5 minutes later? They're no longer angry. Now look, I'm not talking about temper tantrums where kids have learned that if they scream, they get what they want. But I'm just talking about just regular day-to-day, a kid is made sad because their brother or sister took their toy and they just start crying, right? Whatever. We don't have to judge the exact scenario, but the point of the matter is 2-year-olds know how to feel their emotions, and they also know how to put that story down. 2-year-olds not mad 3 days later over something that made them mad 3 days ago. But yet as adults, we tend to ruminate on the stories behind the emotions. We tend to hold on to resentment and grudges because we're always judging ourselves and other people and saying they shouldn't have done that, I shouldn't have done this. Next time I talk to them, I'm going to tell them this, etc., etc. So I think it's useful to just recognize that if we just take a look at a 2-year-old and see how they feel the emotion deeply, like when a 2-year-old gets mad, they don't just get a little bit upset, they get mad. And when they get sad, they get really sad and they cry. They feel it intensely so that it can pass. And it does, inevitably. So, what can we learn? Experience your emotions so that they can pass and release, so that you can shift your attention back to your day and get on with it. Some things will take longer to pass. Certain emotions and experiences will take longer to experience the emotions because the emotions are so much more intense. And that's kind of normal. I did a video, hold an open house for your emotions. The concept is if the emotion knocks, knock, 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 let them in, let them sit. A real minor annoyance will only need to sit with you for a short while before it passes through and lets itself out the back door. A really intense emotion based on some real serious hurt, that emotion may need to sit on the couch with you for a while before it feels honored, loved, understood, and lets itself out the back door. But the key is, if you want your brain to recognize that emotions are safe, they're normal, they're supposed to be felt, best way to do that is to allow yourself to feel these emotions without judgment, without resistance, without criticism, without assigning some judgment to yourself, I'm crazy if I'm, angry, I'm out of control, right? Or I'm weak if I'm crying or sad. So it's important to just allow the emotions so they can pass without judgment. And that's about as complicated as it needs to be. I don't like particularly digging up the old stuff. If the old stuff is, haunting you on a regular basis, then allow yourself to feel it so it can be passed and released. But I'm not convinced we need to dig it up, right? So that's what I got for you today. Short video. And do like a 2-year-old. Experience your emotions deeply, intensely, so that they can pass. All right. Comment below if you like it. And we'll see you tomorrow. Love you.